That is it. We are now live. Now live. Bam. Uh-huh. Everything has been tweeted. Everything is good. Everything has been set. Okay. Gonna wait a minute or two to wait for people to come. In the meantime, yeah. I have officially started the live stream and recording everything. Uh-huh. Yeah. Whew. Admittedly, a little less prepared than the last stream. And that's all nice and aligned. Move that out of the way. Yes. Okay. Live. Here talking now. I think I have everything nice lined up. I think. Okay. Just gotta get rid of the pre-stream jitters. All right. Let's just begin. Hi, I'm Frank, and I'm here today to discuss, pencils once again. But as we talked about in the previous stream with, pencils, mostly want to talk about, mechanical pencils. Because everyone has, a wooden pencil around. And I wanted to talk about, the different mechanical pencils of slightly different price ranges and purposes, like the 0.5 Pentel Twist compared to a dollar store pencil and stuff like that. And I didn't really talk about wooden pencils specifically, but in my previous one, I just really kind of wanted to show that, yes, there are advantages to a slightly nicer pencil, like the eraser on this one, and just the slightly better grip and all that. But for the most part, you can make art with any kind of mechanical pencil you like, or just regular wooden pencils, if that's what your preference is. But, obviously, what happens if you do have a few extra bucks? What kind of pencils would I personally recommend? I still recommend the Pentel Twist Erase mechanical pencil, but we're going to be talking about some new ones. Well, these are not exactly new, but just different ones from the previous stream. Video. Wherever. The VOD. Gonna be awkward pausing a lot because I need to think about what I'm going to say. The first one I want to talk about is possibly one of my personal favorite mechanical pencils, and that is the Uni Alpha Gel 0.5 thick mechanical pencil. If we were to quickly look this up on Amazon, I'll be basing most of my prices off of US Amazon, mostly because that's just the most convenient thing that a lot of people have access to and stuff. And the Uni Alpha Gel Shaker, which is this one's called, I like to call it the thick one, is about $8 to $10 off of Amazon. Do note I still have Prime active, though that's expiring at the end of the month. So $8 to $10. And we're also going to be talking about one of my other favorite mechanical pencils, the slim version. I got multiple. Actually, I have another thick one. Back when they used to be called HD. As you can tell, this one's a little more rare down. I don't even think they sell this color scheme anymore. But the issue with this one is that the shaker mechanism is partially broke. I still have it around. But that's an older model version. So do note, take it with a grain of salt. The shaker can get damaged, but that one's like, I think, over 10 years old. This one is, I think, 5 years old, along with this one. I bought both of them at the same time. You could still tell that this gray part right here is slightly yellowed, along with this one. The grips still feel nice. So they're $8 to $10. And one of the things I always will talk about whenever talking about specifically mechanical pencils is that I'm not going to be reviewing their lead or the graphite inside it, mostly because you can always replace that with any kind of graphite you want, including colored graphite and such. So you really don't want to be judging it purely on that, unless there is some specific thing, like with the dollar store mechanical pencils being kind of squeaky. I'm not going to mention the lead too much unless there is something to note. But this is 0.5 lead, fairly common lead. You can find this in most stores. And the cool thing about the shaker pencil is, as the name implies, you can just shake it, get some lead out. So you don't even need to change your grip at all. So you just literally go, and you got something to draw with. You can click in the back as well a little bit to extend it if you prefer that. Or you can click it all the way in. This is the part that got screwed up in with this one. I believe I still have lead in it. I think I took all the lead out. Okay, let's put a piece of lead in there to show you what exactly broke. It also has a really tiny little hole in the back for it. Kind of hard to get it in, but see how it just kind of comes all the way out like that? I guess you can really see that. Oh, there you go. For some reason, it doesn't clamp it down. It doesn't prevent it from going out like this one. No matter how much I shake it, it's not going to let the lead out. So yeah, that's the part on this that essentially broke. Let me show you that one more time. Like, it still works if you have, like, if it's just loaded normally, but as soon as you click in the back, it just falls right out. So that's the problem with this older model. As you can see, well, you might not be able to see it on my webcam, but it says HD.5. This doesn't have the HD, so it's a newer model, and I haven't had the same issue. And it was fine for like a few years, so. But I still felt like mentioning it. Even though this is my favorite model mechanical pencil, I'd still ran into that problem. So I wanted to make sure that if you do buy one for yourself, do note that is a thing that could happen. But I had this one for like 5 years. Works perfectly fine. And it's super comfy. Because of the gel grip, it's really nice. It does slip around, so if you have like OCD and you want the like little notches in the thing to line up with the metal bit here, that might annoy you. That's not the case on here. This is a slim one, which does not have the shaker one. So if you want something a bit thinner and also doesn't have the shaking mechanism, you can get the thin one. Though I do have a weird problem with mine. For some reason, it doesn't actuate properly. And I think, yeah, I ran out of lead on this one. Man, I'm very unprepared for this. Oh yeah, the thing to note, they do have different erasers. This one just has a little like nub eraser, while the thin one has a more of a drafting pencil kind of eraser. So that's something to note. Let's put 2 pieces of lead. Yes. It still actuates, but it's not a satisfying click. Both of these have issues. Again, they're still my favorite because I think the form factor of them is really good, but do note they can be a touch temperamental. It's also one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about these first, is that even expensive mechanical pencils do have slight issues. Like, they're not immune to quality control problems. The thin one still has a fairly squishy grip, but it's definitely a lot more firm compared to the... It's definitely a lot more firm compared to the... Sorry for all the noise. Just trying to make sure this thing doesn't slip. Because this is a board that I put on my desk because my desk is black. So I wanted to like have something a little bit more to bounce light off of. But anyway. Even though it is a bit more firmer, but it's still squishy enough where you do get that nice comfort feel. When it comes to the shaker, you might be wondering, does it ever extend when you're doing like large strokes like this? It doesn't. Even if I shake it like this, you can barely hear anything move. Only when you go like this is when you actually get the action. And even then, still doesn't extend. You have to give it a good shake. It's a very purposeful action. And usually 2 shakes are good enough for me. So it's very intuitive to draw with. You don't have to worry about it shaking when you don't want to. And assuming you don't have quality control issues like mine do, this one's perfectly fine. This one, again, has this weird... It doesn't fully actuate. It's kind of hard to explain. It's like a dry push, if I have to describe it. Like, you don't get that satisfying click. It used to, but something happened with it. Yeah, so you can draw just fine. Draw fairly fast. And not really have much of an issue. The only thing I really don't like about the shaker one is that I find that the eraser is a little small, and once you run out of it, it can be kind of hard to pull out. Since it is just like a eraser, you could probably just cut up a pre-existing eraser, like a mono eraser, and just kind of like jam it in there, and be kind of fine. And I don't think they sell refills of the erasers. So that's a thing to mention. Again, both of these are roughly around the same price. I think the slim ones are a bit cheaper usually, like by $1 or $2. Yeah. They feel really solid. To hold in the hand as well. if I have to explain the ergonomics, you can hold them far back and still draw, though it's a little bit harder with the shaker one, because this part is so thick. I could see if you're trying to get like a really low angle and your lead's not extended out far enough, you might accidentally rest it on the tip and not actually get that angle. While the thin one, due to just being overall slimmer, it's easier to get like more of a angle out of it. So how much would I recommend these mechanical pencils? They are my favorite overall. But due to their slight quality control issues and these just being kind of old, I have to give it with a grain of salt. And they're not cheap. They're not a cheap pencil at all. Because that's $8 to $10 for a singular. So I would probably give it a 7 out of 10. Assuming that they work perfectly fine, you don't have any of the issues like I did, I would give these a 10 out of 10 easy. They're some of my favorite mechanical pencils to draw with. I always carry at least the slim one with me because it's just easy to carry around with how slim it is. So yeah. Now let's talk about something that's a little bit cheaper. Something that's a bit thick, but not too thick. Not as thick as this. This bad boy. But still pretty thick. And that is the Arteza 0.7 mechanical pencil. Let me look at that. Arteza mechanical pencils 0.7. You can buy a pack of 16 of them, which is what I bought of them. Is this one? Yes. A pack of 16 of them with eraser refills, some extra lead, for $22. And that's roughly $1.44 per pencil. They're seen as their premium pencils. Premium 2B number 2 HB mechanical pencils. They're latex free, in case that's a worry. They have a rubberized hard grip, they side click, and they have a twist eraser similar to this, though notably it's a little bit harder to twist it because it's only just this little red tip part. It opens up from sort of the tip / side. You just pull that out and you just throw in your mechanical pencil head in there. Sort of clicks right in. I bought a pack of these for my old job 2 years ago, and I left the pack there, so I don't have the packaging. I think this is the only one I still have with me. But it's the only one I really need. So it comes with a lot of stuff. It's definitely a higher cost. I don't think you can buy them individually. Can you buy them individually? No, I don't think so. So you do have to spend the full $20-ish to get all of them. They also come in a pack of 22, I think, or 20 mechanical pencils. So this is good if you lose a lot of mechanical pencils or you lend them out to friends who don't give them back. So yeah, so initial cost of purchase a little bit higher than what you might be used to. But when it comes to the actual pencil itself, it feels really natural in the hand. Some people don't like the side bump thing, but if you keep it like where your thumb is, It would also naturally keep this away from the inner palm of your hand, which I know annoys some people who don't like mechanical pencils. So it puts your thumb in a natural space to click it wherever you need it. And the tip's also retractable as well. It's 0.7 lead. So it's your average mechanical pencil lead. You can hold it really far back because it's still thin enough where you can get a really steep angle. And the eraser not too bad. Let's press down really hard with some HB lead. Still not going to erase something that hard press compared to a mono eraser. The mono eraser erases it slightly better, but for one that's on your mechanical pencil, that is very long if you just twist it, not too shabby. I think the image is slightly out of focus. There you go. Honestly, not too shabby of an eraser. And the package does come with a few refills of it. I forget how many. I think it's just like 3 or 4 of them. But overall, it fits really well in the hand. My main complaint with it is mostly that the grip is hard. I'm personally not the biggest fan of hard rubberized grips. I don't know, just like a few of them work well with me, like this one from the pencil. But this one's definitely even a little bit harder than that one. But it does give you a really like solid traction on your fingers if you have slippery hands. But overall, as the high price point of buying 16 of them is probably the main thing that's going to turn most people off. But they're solidly built. It's all plastic for the most part, so there's no metal parts. But it's really solid plastic. Like, I could squeeze this pretty hard, and it doesn't feel like it's going to budge at all. There's like zero flex either as well. It's really nice. And this is, for the most part, plastic as well, aside from the really shiny bits. But these feel really well built. It's very hard to break something like this. This is a solid plastic mechanical pencil. This is not made to be disposable, despite being forced to buy like a pack of 16 of them. You can also hold it with your index finger here on the button, and it still feels pretty natural. Though this may rub up against you a little bit. It's easy to load as well. Clicks in securely. Requires some force to take it out, but that's a good thing. I think you can twist this cap off if you want. Yeah, you can twist it off. But I don't recommend doing that. You can mess up the internals of most mechanical pencils if you do that. In fact, I think that's how I broke this section now that I think about it. Anyway. Yeah, I'd say this is a solid choice for mechanical pencil if you want to buy a lot of them, if you tend to lose a lot of them as well, or you give them out to friends. I would keep all the eraser refills for yourself. And you can, since you get so many of them, you can fill them up with different lead types like 2B lead, 2H lead, or even colored leads. Yeah. I'll do a more refined drawing with the pencils towards the end of the stream. So yeah, it's a very nice mechanical pencil. And also, if in case you're wondering, there's no way to actuate it from the back. So it's only actuated through the button, which presses in slightly towards the back rather than the front, which is another thing. Which makes sense, because that's the natural curve of your finger. Kind of like that. Next up, we're going to switch it up a bit. Let's say you want a quality eraser, but you don't like how small it is, and you want a little bit more precision. Precision? I can speak. Well, I got you the Pencil Click Eraser. Papermate also makes one as well, which is pretty much the same thing. This is an eraser that's really long in a plastic shell that clicks back and forth with a hard rubberized ribbed grip with a plastic eraser on the end. It's good for being precise. Like, let's say I want to erase this eye. Very simple. And then I just redraw it. Oh no, I messed it up again. But if I were to use this eraser, I erase accidentally a bit of the head. This is purely for comfort. You don't need this. But it's very convenient to travel with as well. Because depending on your eraser choice, this might get lost in your pencil bag, or if it gets really, really small over time, it could also be harder to erase with. Well, this generally stays the same thickness as, like, well, I guess it's a little bit thicker than this eraser, but it generally stays the same thickness. It's really good. It's pretty much just like a mono eraser, just in stick form. They do make thinner versions of these kind of mechanical erasers. Like Mono has one that's like a thin like rectangle and a thin circle. But those are kind of expensive. These you can get, if I remember correctly, for about $4 for one, and refills you can get like several for really cheap. Let's look up the pencil. Pencil Click erasers. For a pack of 3, you can get them from $4 to $7. And the eraser refills for a pack of 24 are anywhere from $15 to $25. So roughly $1 a eraser refill. And these last you a long time. Like, look how long this boy is. It's like Wiglet. Very nice. I would avoid trying doing this really long or pushing this too hard on the sides, because I have broken one before. Where I broke the clicking mechanism because I was like... Yeah, I just stopped that. It's very satisfying, like some ASMR. This is just a really nice eraser. It erases like a dream. Again, you don't need something like this. It's just very nice and useful, and it's a nice creature comfort. And since we're talking about mechanical pencils and pencils in general, like it makes sense to have one of these. Even if you use a traditional wooden pencil, it's still nice just to have it around. Now, let's talk about a non-traditional wooden pencil. This fat boy. Look at him. This is a generic carpenter's pencil that I found around the house. that I sharpened to a point. Yeah. They make different shaped pencils. Carpenter pencils are obviously made for carpenter. They're very thick, as you can see by like the lead here, so it's not even a traditional lead size. And they're ovular, which is actually surprisingly comfortable to hold. And just, your typical graphite pencil. If I had to guess, this is HB. The reason why their lead is super thick is so that when you grind it against the grains of the wood, since wood is like super grainy and knotty and stuff, so when you do that, it eats away at normal pencils a little bit faster, so you have to sharpen them quite a bit. While carpenter's pencil is thicker, it's ovular, so it doesn't roll around. So if you're bothered by the good old roll to win, even the angular pencils like this will roll a fair bit. While this one, like at most, it just stays in place. But most of them don't come with erasers. Since, it's going to be on wood anyway, it's probably just going to be hidden naturally just through cuts or staining or whatever. It's going to wipe off. That's why I introduced this bad boy. So, do some writing. And you just erase it. Yeah. But since this is a cheaper carpenter's pencil, graphite doesn't erase as well. There's another carpenter pencil around the house that I know works well because I used it before. And carpenter's pencils you can get for super cheap. Like if we just check it on Amazon, carpenter pencils. You can get like giant packs of them for like $20. They're probably like 50 cents at a hardware store. I just wanted to mention it. You should definitely get a sharpener for these, because I used a knife to try to cut this, and man, it got kind of tiresome. So you do need your own. You do need to get a specialized sharpener for them. But it is, again, really comfortable to hold. It's just really natural just to hold it. It's very nice. And you can sharpen them like your super fancy artist pencils, where it's like, you get the super long length and then you like sandpaper it for like the super sharp point and whatever. Yeah, you can do that. Very nice. They also do make other thick kind of pencils, like Dixon makes the Ticonderogas. But you also need a sharpener that's big enough to handle them, and they're triangle shape. I don't like the eraser very much. But I wanted to give a bit more of a spotlight to carpenter pencils, because they are pretty cool. Especially if you work large. Or even on canvas. That's another thing. That's actually what I used the carpenter pencils for when I was drawing on a canvas. But let's say, let's change our papers. But let us say you want to have a mechanical pencil, but with the feeling of wooden pencils. Because, with a wooden pencil, you kind of like how the sharpness changes. You can use a dull edge to, shade a little bit better. Pointed edge when you want it. But you want the form factor of a mechanical pencil. Especially a drafting one. With a nice metal grip, and it doesn't change size over time as you sharpen it. And you just want to buy some lead refills to make it simple, a little bit less wood wasted. Well, I got some for you. These bad boys. came from. Where did all that graphic come from? Anyway, these guys, they go by. Okay, enough interruptions. These guys go by quite a few names. They could be anywhere from referred as clutch holders, big lead or thick lead mechanical pencils, or as I refer them as, or I always know them as lead holders. Essentially, they have this giant piece of lead that's pretty much what you find in a normal wooden pencil. It's 1 millimeter or a 1.0 thickness. In case you're wondering, the 0.0 or 0.5s or 0.6 refers to the amount of millimeters it is. This is a 1 millimeter one. They also make ones in 3 millimeter and 2 millimeter. But basically, it's a normal wooden pencil lead in the form factor of a mechanical pencil that holds it in with this clutching mechanism. So you hold it all the way down, it will extend it really far. Or hold it like that, it goes all the way in. One of the reasons why it's called a clutch pencil is because the mechanism that holds it is a clutch, which is something that holds a generally circular or cylinder thing in place through multiple attachment points. This is a 3-clutch mechanical pencil, and it's a rather cheap one. It's the Alvin DB lead holder. So let's look that up. I bought that at an art store, and they're primarily used for drafting for the most part. So Alvin lead holder. It's the DB. So they are about $9 to $10 for one of these. So on average, with the prices of stuff like this, but you get an entirely new form factor. And drawing with something like this is basically just like a regular wooden pencil with all its quirks, but in a mechanical pencil form factor. So no matter how much you wear down the pencil, it's always going to stay the same length as it always is, with the metal sort of mesh grip. And it feels really natural to draw with. But most of these will require a specialized sharpener if you actually want to sharpen it, not with sandpaper or just by doing that for like an hour. So it's recommended to buy this or something equivalent to it. This is a sort of like a grinder. This centerpiece right here is this textured, similar texture to this actually, thing that you put your tip of your pencil into and you go in a circle. So it like kind of like grinds it around to make it really sharp and pointed. You have these 2 little holes right here, which it's kind of hard to see even in person, but there's one with a fat tip. So what you do is you put your mechanical pencil in like this, and when you hold it straight up, you release the clutch and close it, and it gives you the length that you would need for that type of tip. I personally like the long, sharp tip, which makes it even a little bit longer. And then you put it in here, and you gently grind it. If you have it too long, it will snap, or if you're too forceful with it will also snap. It would also be a lot louder if this was like not already kind of sharpened. And then you dip it in this little piece of cloth here. As you see, it's fairly dirty because I've been using this a lot. And now you have a perfectly sharp tip. And like with any mechanical pencil, you can also change what kind of lead you had in it. This one came with an HB lead, but I bought some 2B lead with it as well. And I currently use it with 2B lead. Because I have plenty of HB mechanical pencils and plenty of HB wooden pencils. You can also change the side here to show what letter you have. And you load it for the back. Like so. It's kind of hard to pull off the back as well. These are, again, meant for drafting purposes. But you get all the comfort of a mechanical pencil with the properties of a wooden pencil, which is really nice. You can hold it far back. You can hold it up close. Draw your stuff. Overall, I would say, again, purely for comfort, but it is very nice to have a wooden-like pencil thing that doesn't shorten in length. But you do need carrying around with some sort of sharpener with you. Some more expensive ones, and I think technically this one as well, if you use the back in some way. I lost the instruction sheet. You can sharpen it usually with the back of the caps. I don't know how you would with this one. But yeah. It does have that one distinct disadvantage that most mechanical pencils do benefit from, and that is the lack of a need of a sharpener. But you also deal with less mess as well. And you can use the dust that you get from it as sort of like graphite dust. They do sell graphite powder that you can use to kind of like shade with brushes and stuff. So you can technically make your own over time. Or you just throw it away. But I also wanted to discuss something that you can also do with these sharpeners that I just experimented with one day, and I thought it was fun. Okay, I had to break this, break the tip of this. So as you see here, this is a Sakura 127 mechanical pencil that often comes with a lot of Sakura microns. And one thing that a lot of people don't like about 0.7 mechanical pencils is that they're just a little bit too thick. So one thing that I discovered you can do is that you can extend the lead, put it in here. You have to be very gentle with this because it can snap very easily because the lead's a lot thinner. And boom, there you go. You got a sharpened 0.7 mechanical pencil, similar to how this sharpens. And then you got a super sharp, let's dip it in there, super sharp mechanical pencil without needing a lead holder. So you still benefit even if you don't like that. If you end up like, I don't like lead holders that much. Well, with thinner mechanical pencils, using ones that are drafting like, you can use it to sharpen them and get really precise, thin points. Even more sharp and precise than a 0.3 mechanical pencil. I have tried to sharpen a 0.3 mechanical pencil. Did not go well because it kept snapping. Because the lead's so thin and it can't handle the grinding motion. But with 0.7s and especially 0.9 mechanical pencils, you can get like some really nice points out of them. Yeah. I use this all the time for my 0.7 and 0.9 mechanical pencils. They have to be about this thick for it to work. Essentially the same thickness as this, which is about a little over a quarter of an inch thick. Because even ones like this doesn't fit very far into this, and you have to extend the lead up quite a bit, which can cause it to snap easier. But for your thinner boys, you can get the convenience of and comfort of a sharpened lead holder, but with other mechanical pencils that are thin enough to fit in. So yeah. These are about like $5 to $7 each for a cheap one. I'm not sure what this one's called. It doesn't have any branding on it. I also bought it from the same art store I got this from. So yeah. Now we did our little examples and talk about each one. Let's actually draw something with these. I think we're going to I think we're going to draw with the Alvin lead holder, because it's probably one that most people haven't seen much of. And what should I draw? I'm going to draw, let's see. Come on, Skipper, work with me. Work with me here. That's the long side. I'm going to draw my witch character. And I still need to come up with a name for it. One tip I have with the lead holder, if you do want to use it and you still want to have like always like a sharp long point for a long period of time, get HB or H leads, because they tend to keep their sharpness a little bit better. Because this one's already starting to dull slightly. as you see with this character's hat, I want, like, the main concept of the design of the character is that I wanted to draw a witch with a fedora for a hat. So it's like a giant fedora hat. Because I thought that would be neat. Let's lengthen the tips a bit. As you see, as I'm drawing this, it kind of has that sort of wooden pencil drawing feel, because you can kind of feel the difference between when you draw something with a wooden pencil and a mechanical pencil. Wooden pencil drawings tend to have a, even if you just do the basic sketch, even without any shading and stuff, kind of has this sort of soft look, soft and rough. Let's have her hand holding something. Little tip with if you want a hand to look like it's in a natural kind of relaxed position but still raised up, you generally want to keep the palm in line with the shoulder, because when you have a figure that isn't putting a lot of effort into raising their hand, their forearm is still rather low. So this is the torso, where the elbow is going to be raised up, and that's where the hand's going to be, and that's where the shoulder is going to be. So you don't want the palm too high above the shoulder if you want to kind of have like a relaxed sort of view. Again, the one disadvantage of a lead holder that even wooden pencils have an advantage over is it has no eraser on the back. Now, this is a cheap one, so it might have some on more expensive ones, but this one doesn't. Kind of round this out a little bit, kind of have that dip in. She has these kind of like long gloves, where when she does her potion making, she can protect her arms. She's more of a alchemy witch than she is a magic witch. One kind of peeking out there. She is home. I should probably plan this out a little bit more. Or rolling with it. Let's erase this. Let's get a better shape going. Let's draw the thing that she's going to hold. And have the hand drawn around that. So, just going to put like a gentle circle. That's where I just generally want the hand is. You can't even see that on camera. Let's sharpen. Just a little bit. nice that looks. Okay. Let's have her hold a potion. It's going to be a bit of a lopsided kind of like thing. Trying to probably be holding a singular thing. Thumb would be out. And the thumb would be kind of like peeking through there, be slightly transparent. Actually move a bit more out there, make it look a little more natural. Let's get in our Click Eraser. This is what the Quick Eraser is really good for. It's like this kind of like narrow detail that you want. Well, that's kind of hard to kind of get in there with this. Plus, with it being just overall more like a pencil shape, it's just easier to see what you're doing. Pinky's more straight when you hold something. Man, this hand's really not great. Probably more like over there. Ignore this hand. This hand's not great. The quality of the art supplies does not match the quality of the artist. Please keep in mind. I know I want the eye and eyebrow to show for the hair. That's a stylistic thing. Also because I still want both eyes to be drawn. I like drawing the eyes. And since this is a wooden pencil like shape to the lead, I can do some gentle shading here and make it look really smooth. No, opposite way, because the down feather. I know the back feathers are more smoother than the front feathers, so I'm not gonna try to indicate too much of the thing. Now I'm using the dollar tip more to my advantage here, where I'm using it try to get like thicker lines that are darker by pressing down harder. Inside this. Now I want to do more detail in the eyes, and since my tip is thoroughly worn down, I'm going to resharpen it again. take our stick eraser. And kind of go in between places where we definitely know we don't want anything to show through, like so. I'm just going to ignore this hand. That hand did not come out good. Just going to use a basic dollar store 1-inch brush to kind of wipe off the dust. You can also just take the page and just wiggle it, which gets off a lot of the bulk of the dust, and when stuff that's like really stuck stays. You can keep going by pressing hard. Sheet for this. There's like 2 little legs for this little thing. If you're definitely willing to deal with the the extra steps of sharpening with the pencil, it can be very versatile with the lead holder that you just don't get with other mechanical pencils. So again, it feels a lot like a wooden pencil, as I keep mentioning. But again, with everything when it comes to the stuff for drawing series, you don't need any of this specifically. I just kind of wanted to show off stuff that I find interesting. Hopefully, this can lead to something for you to find things that help you be a little bit more comfortable if you have an extra $1 or $2 to spend. This stream was definitely a little bit less organized than my previous one. And since I showed off a lot more pencils than I did last time, I didn't want to do a specific drawing for each individual one, because that would take forever. And this is less so a drawing stream and more so like, hey, I hope I get you a thinking a bit. You know? Add a little sort of like seam here. Not sure how fedora seams look. Anyway. Yeah, so if I had to like give every single pencil a rating, because I realized I gave these a rating but didn't give anything else a rating. Talking about our first boys, the Uni Alpha Gels, like I said, like a 7 out of 10, because I have had trouble with these when it comes to the actual mechanical parts of them. But assuming everything works, I would give them a 10 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 with the grains of salt. The Arteza 0.7 is a really solid choice, especially if you need a lot of them. I would give them probably an 8 out of 10. Not higher because of you have to buy them in bulk. As far as I can tell, you cannot buy them individually. You might be able to buy them individually at an art store if they sell Arteza stuff in art stores. It's been a while since I've been in one. Click erasers, or just mechanical erasers in general, very useful tool. Not needed. Regular erasers will do just fine. But does definitely help with a lot with precision. With drawing. And they're pretty comfortable. They're relatively cheap. Very nice little addition to add. Carpenter pencils might be a good fit, especially if you get ones with slightly better graphites. This graphite's not the best since this is a very cheap no-name one. But they're usually like 25-50 cents a piece. You can get a big bunch of them in bulk. You do need a Pacific sharpener to actually be able to sharpen these. Otherwise, you have to cut it with a knife like I did, which is not fun. They don't roll around, and they're really comfortable to hold. Lead holders. As you saw, I just drew with one. Very neat. It's convenient in some ways, less convenient in others. I would not travel with lead holders, which is the main thing. I'd say I would knock them for, since as far as I can tell, a lot of them don't come with erasers. You need to carry an eraser with you, like let's say the Click eraser or a Mono eraser. And you do need a specialized sharpener to even sharpen them, unless you want to do the sandpaper method. And it would make a lot of mess if you use sandpaper and you had to travel with it. This is definitely a studio tool, I would say. Something that you would use at home or at your studio if you do want to draw with them. They're great if you really want that wooden pencil flexibility, but also have the mechanical pencil form factor. You can also use the sharpener to sharpen the other mechanical pencils, because if you have this, you probably have mechanical pencils lying around. And having the extra sharpen potential is very good. And of course, like I said in the last stream, you don't need any Pacific mechanical pencil. You can just use a good old cheap one, which has some nice creature comforts in them. Or just the good old wooden pencil in general, because these still work. Yeah. Sorry if this stream was a bit disorganized. Really wanted to force myself to actually do this and not make a habit of just not doing it. Next stream is going to be a little bit more organized, I promise. And it's going to have more drawing in it as well. Because the next one I want to talk about is something to do with like inking. And specifically like what's a good place to start? What are some good packs and pens and stuff? Because I have a large variety of pens. I have Sakura Micron, I have Zig manga pens. I have some like pencil ballpoint art pens and stuff that I want to talk about. Some brush pens. It'll be more like a primer about different kinds of pens in general. And how which ones I would personally recommend using to start. And yeah. Anyhow, gonna call it for a stream.